We are out here in the newest and hottest, or potentially hottest, community in Jacksonville, Florida today, checking out this amazing model home behind me. It has some amazing features, some beautiful features that you're not going to miss. So let's get right into it and discuss where we're at today and who the builder is and why this could be the house for you. As we come into this beautiful model home in one of the hottest neighborhoods as mentioned previously, the first thing I want to point out is you do get a really good front porch. And we're starting to see that a lot more from builders across the board here, because even if you're not going to use it every day, having that look and feel for the aesthetic with some of these elevations, it is nice just to try to create a little bit of a breakup there where you're not just simply coming into the house like we are now, where it can sometimes get a little bit dark. So it does give you some usable space, but it does kind of give you a different feel as well with the look coming in. But as you can tell, we come into this beautiful home. We have that nice, really wide walkway coming in. It takes us into our foyer. And what I absolutely love about this specific model home is, as in floor plan, is this foyer, it goes up 20 feet. So you do have that open railing up there, which is an upgrade you could do with the builder. But that 20 feet, it gives you a very grand entryway and something that you don't get across the board with every floor plan. And once you've had this, or once you've seen this, a lot of times you're gonna want this. So again, if you wanna know where we're at today, which builder this is, which floor plan this is, you don't have to wait. You can just call, text, email me. Happy to help go over all that as well. Now moving right along, as you see right here at the front of the home, we actually are gonna have our first bedroom and bathroom. So this is gonna be a great space for guests. We'll get to the bathroom in one moment. But this is gonna be a great space for guests. This is gonna be for if you have family visiting, if you have friends visiting, kind of gives them their own little area of the house when they first come in. Also easy for them to kind of leave when needed. But it's a good sized room. What you're gonna see here too is we do have those 10-foot ceilings in here, which really does give it a great impact, makes the space sometimes feel bigger than it really is. And overall, we have tons of natural light here as well. Now, one thing I do wanna highlight too is with this specific builder, what they do when it comes to their closets, because this is gonna be more of your standard size closet, they actually do those French doors with it, which just really gives it a very elegant feel. Gives it more of a high-end feel. It's one of those things too that you're not dealing with bifolds that can constantly break, and even the sliders. The sliders can sometimes break more than these do. And it locks in place. So just a really cool feature across the board to really make a typical closet feel a bit more grand in some regards. We also have the taller doors with this floor plan, just a reference, but then we come into our first bathroom and our downstairs bathroom. And as you see here, and I say downstairs bathroom, this is not necessarily the guest bathroom, which we'll show you in one moment. But as you see here, it's a very standard size cabinet countertop here. Love the hardware that the builder chose. And that's something that you could do yourself with a similar floor plan like this, or any floor plan with this builder. But this specific builder, and if you've seen videos on our channel before, you'll probably pick up on who this is. But this builder, a lot of times uses a lot more pastel colors, a lot more pinks, greens, blues, baby blues, which I actually kind of like because it just changes the feel when you come in. Almost feels like it's Easter year round. But as you can see here with the shower, we do have a step down into it to keep a lot of the water in. Love that tile pattern that they chose with it as well. And then with the shower enclosure, they went to the ceiling with the tile, which in my opinion is awesome to see. It is one of those things that some builders will charge that as an upgrade, others you get that as a standard. So if you wanna know if that was an upgrade for this floor plan or for this builder, reach out to me and I'll help answer that. But they kept it very simple and sleek with this subway tile pattern, which really allows the fixtures, the gold hardware, the gold fixtures to really shine with this specific area and the specific shower. So I do love seeing that as well. In addition, the wallpaper is kind of a cool touch to kind of finish it off, and we do still get some good natural light with it as well. As we continue to move through the house though, you're also gonna notice here that the walls, and maybe you won't notice it, but the walls in this home, they are smooth walls. That is something that this builder actually does as a standard. And I bring that up because other builders don't always do that. I have some homes with builders right now that it was a standard. I have others where the buyer actually had to upgrade that to get smooth walls because of how they structure their standard finishes and their upgrades. So again, that's super important for people. And sometimes with some of those upgrades, it's important to know, do I do that with the builder or do that after the fact? And here's the great part, I can help with all of that. Next though, we're gonna check out this dedicated office. In this dedicated office, I actually really like the transition here It's a little bit more, maybe masculine, but just a lot more earthy tones. We still do have some of that green, that pastel green, but now we're getting more of that earthy tone, which for an office space, I feel like makes a lot of sense. In addition here, you're gonna notice the builder did do some nice wood elements here just to kind of break up the walls. We do have that crown molding where they continue that same earthy color with the crown molding and go with the doors and the accents in the wall. So it just really epitomizes, really stands out. And in general, you would maybe think this is too dark of a color to use for a space like this, but these windows here help offset that because it allows a lot of natural light in. In addition, we do have the chandelier here, which the chandelier is one of those things that maybe you wouldn't do with a space like this. Maybe you want to do a fan instead, but the builders do like to do these chandeliers with their models to show you what you can do, if you wanted to. We also have our closet here, and this closet is kind of unique in the sense of it actually wraps around, and we're not gonna bring you all the way in, we're gonna keep you right there, but it wraps all the way around so I can actually hide back here, so to speak. And the reason that it has that much depth, the reason you have that much storage is because it is underneath the stairwell, so they're really able to maximize that space, which no matter where you live, I think a lot of people would agree with this, it's always good to have more storage space than less. It's always good to have more than needed because what will end up happening is you'll end up needing it down the road anyways. Also, we did a little kick in here or a little bump out here. And what's cool about this is, let's say you need an extra bedroom and you don't necessarily need the office. This could be very easily, and they do have it as a structural change, this could very easily be changed into making this a closet and making this a true second bedroom downstairs. So that part is really awesome to see because whenever you have a builder who can make some different variations like that, it can make some changes just naturally. It just makes it one step easier if you wanted that to have happen because you're not having to ask, you're not having to see if it's even possible. And then we have our half bath. So like I mentioned, this is gonna be for your typical guest. It allows that bathroom downstairs to be truly for just whoever's occupying that bedroom. So I do love seeing that as well. Color choices are definitely very interesting, very unique. Love to know your thoughts on that. Maybe it could be a little dark for not having a window in there, but I do kind of like it. I like when builders, try to change things up sometimes because sometimes you have to take a little bit of risk to see how it goes. But now let's go upstairs and check out some additional bedrooms and bathrooms before we show you that amazing living dining kitchen. So now that we're upstairs, first and foremost, obviously, you already saw from downstairs, but this is that open railing that, looks down to our foyer. It just really keeps everything wide open, keeps everything feeling very grand. And it's just a great way of utilizing this space, especially with having this loft here, to not have things feel too claustrophobic in a sense. But up here, you're gonna see with the second floor, we do have a tray ceiling in this loft. I do love the fact that there's a tray up here because you don't always get that on the second floor. And so that is just another element that just makes the space feel that much larger. And even if it's an upgrade to do with the builder, I always highly recommend at least considering it when you build with the builder because it just gives it a more, as I mentioned already, a more grand feel. But they also did recessed lighting in here. They did some surround sound speakers with it being a model. Those are things that you could do with the builder or after the fact. But just helps, maximize the space up here. In addition, as you see, we do have carpet up here, but downstairs, I hadn't mentioned it yet, but downstairs, as you probably saw, the builder did some really beautiful wood floors. And that color, that lighter wood color has become so popular again as we've gone to more of a transition back to the more wood color and away from the grays. Then we come to our laundry room. And the laundry room, it's a very good size. They actually upgraded and put cabinetry up to the ceiling. Again, we have more of a baby blue pastel kind of wallpaper here. On the other side, we have our washer dryer. The dryer will have the option for gas or electric, 9 times out of 10 for communities like this. Again, we have the cabinets up to the ceiling on the side as well. This is gonna open up to our AC closet. Love the tile pattern here, and we do still get the sink too. So that's another big bonus that is not always a standard. It's not always even able to be done. So to find a floor plan that allows that can make a huge difference. So again, if you want to know where we're at today, I am going to mention it throughout this video. I'm going to mention who the builder is, what the floor plan is. But if you don't want to wait, call, text, email me, and we'll go over all that right this moment. And that will be on the screen too, by the way. In addition though, with this room, this could be one of our guest bedrooms upstairs. It's a very good size. And another thing I do want to bring up is the ceiling height in this floor plan is a really nice ceiling height as well, which is not always typical in a second story. Sometimes you'll see 10-foot ceilings upstairs and maybe 8 foot or 10 foot downstairs, maybe 8 foot upstairs. In this case, we have 10 foot down and we still have, I believe, 9 foot up. So it just makes the space feel a bit more larger. And even with this space too, we still do get a walk-in closet, which is nice with this bedroom. So again, anytime we get 9 foot ceilings, makes a huge difference compared to the 8 foot ceilings. So that's gonna be bedroom number 1 for our guest bedrooms upstairs. We now will have bedroom number 2 for our guest bedrooms. And this bedroom over here, they designed it to almost be like for 2 younger kids. So again, 2 small beds, but it kind of shows you just how much you can fit in here. So again, we have 2 single beds. We have a nightstand between the 2 of them. We have our dresser over there, and we still feel like it's a very good sized space across the board because of the higher ceilings as well. In addition, we have not 1, not 2, but we have 3 windows in here, which allow tons of natural light and really just make it feel light and bright, make it feel very open and just very comfortable across the board. Because I don't know about you, but when I'm looking for a house to live in, for me, comfort's gonna be a big thing and feeling comfortable in any area of the house. In addition, we do have another walk-in closet in here. It's not the largest walk-in closet, but it actually has its own window as well, which is kind of a cool thing if you're not used to that. And so again, 2 bedrooms up, 2 walk-in closets up. That's a huge benefit, especially if you have kids with a lot of clothing or just a lot of furniture and you need more storage. You can never go wrong with having walk-ins in every bedroom upstairs. And then we have our guest bathroom. Now this guest bathroom, what they did here, and every builder does things differently, but what they did is they wanted to show you, and I get this question all the time, like, hey Justin, what was an upgrade? What was a standard? Well, this bathroom is going to show you more of what their standard finishes look like before you start to spend a little bit more money to upgrade to maybe different countertops, cabinets, whatever the case may be. So as you see here, this could be our standard tile design with the tub shower combo. This can be our standard tile flooring. It's gonna be more of that square tile. And then as far as the cabinets and countertops, you're gonna see here it is that thinner quartz, and the wood cabinets are still very nice. They're just not gonna be what you saw downstairs per se, because they want to be able to show you what you're starting off with when you do buy a home with them, which I actually love that because not every builder does that. Some of these models you walk in or you see videos of and everything just looks amazing. You're like, okay, that's awesome, but what would it cost me? In this case, you get to kind of see what's the standard and then what with a little bit extra money gets you to really maximize the look of the house. Now this is the primary. Let's check that out now. All right, so moving right along, with this primary bedroom, I mean, what's there to say other than just wow? I mean, you have windows on both walls. They kept this opening here so you can put your king size bed between the windows, which I think is a great ability to kind of set up a bedroom. But I mean, it's just so bright up here. It's so peaceful. I mean, obviously, you look out, you see these trees behind you, just very inviting and very much a space where like I could see myself coming to every day to be able to decompress, to be able to, relax, get some sleep before I start my next day. Because again, we can all have some pretty crazy days. So having a place where you can just wind down is huge. In addition though, you're gonna see up here, we do have this tray ceiling. Again, I do love my trays. If you watch my videos, you know that. But what I really like about this is not only is there a tray ceiling here, but they also did some wood inlay in the ceiling, almost like a shiplap inlay. And that just, again, kind of breaks up the ceiling a little bit. You're not having just that knockdown is what that material, what that look is called. So you don't have just that knockdown ceiling for the whole space. You have knockdown around the sides with the shiplap in the middle. And of course it has the crown molding with it as well. Then it's gonna take us into our primary bathroom, our true primary retreat. And I mean, this is a really cool space. I mean, again, you saw what's more of a standard with the builder. Here's what's not a standard. For just a little bit more money, you can upgrade the handles and knobs. You can upgrade the cabinets so that way they are flush, side by side. There's no gap between them. You can upgrade the countertops to a slightly nicer, thicker quartz. And it's one of those things that you may watch this, you may be like, well, Justin, I shouldn't have to upgrade these things. Well, yes and no. And a lot of it just comes down to personal preference. But in general, it's always important when you are buying a home to think about, especially new construction, about what do I want to come home to every day? In this case, I always suggest people kitchen and bathroom, like those are where you always want to kind of put that money to really make it the way you want it. In addition, we do have our shower over here and our tub. So obviously you get that really big, deep tub. Again, as you're noticing, we have a ton of natural light in here as well. But with this shower, what's nice about it is kind of tucked away back in here. It does have some really nice tile pattern that they did here with it. And we do have that niche in there. So that way, again, for your soaps, your shampoos and stuff like that, you can kind of tuck that away and it's easy to kind of get to so you're not putting it on the floor. In addition, our knob is right at the beginning. So again, you can turn the shower on without necessarily getting wet, let it warm up, and then be able to get in the shower. Which you don't have to wait too long because the way that these homes are set up, they're gonna have tankless gas water heaters. So once that hot water gets there, you're never gonna run out, which is, in my opinion, a big bonus. In addition, we do have our water closet over here, as it then brings us into our massive, and I mean it, massive primary closet. So this primary closet, they did finish it off with some nice custom cabinetry or custom closets. This is not gonna be a standard, this is gonna be an upgrade. And a lot of times it may make sense to do something like this after the fact. But I love when builders do this with their models because it shows you as the audience what you could do with the space if you desire. Because if this wasn't here, we'd come in, we have wire racks, like you wouldn't even know you could maybe even put almost like an island or a peninsula here to be able to even like, lay stuff out, have more storage. So having that, in my opinion, makes a huge difference because it gives you an idea of what you can do with the space. And again, I love everything the builder's done with this so far, but there's still parts that I love even more. So let's now check those parts out, which are gonna be downstairs. All right, I've been dying to show you this part of the home, and this is obviously the trifecta of the home. It's your living room, it's your dining room, it's your kitchen. It's where you're gonna spend probably 80% of your time in the home when you're not sleeping. And this is what I love about it. This builder has such a great layout with how they set this up that it is a true entertaining home. So if you have friends, if you have family that you want to have visit, this is a great space for them. And it starts off with this really good size living room. And you get tons of natural light with the windows on both walls, which really just help, it helps everything feel, natural, light and bright, which we don't always get across the board with every single floor plan. In addition, as you can see here, we have plenty of furniture pieces here, so you could easily do a couch, a love seat. You could still do another chair off to the side as well. There's just a lot of different variations you can do with your furniture, or a sectional even, that you can have and the space will still feel large. So that's what I love. Then it takes us to our dining room. And this is gonna be more that eat-in dining room. I say that because we actually have two kind of dining rooms. This dining room here, it is a 6-seater table, and it could easily be an 8-seater table too, and you still have plenty of room to roam, so to speak. But in general, it's a great use of the space. It opens you up to your living room. So again, when you're in the kitchen or the dining room, you can still, kind of see the living room. And it's one of those things that this has become a very popular layout design, not just with this builder, but with a lot of builders here in Jacksonville, Northeast Florida. In addition, as you see, we are now in our kitchen. And the kitchen is more than just what you see here. The kitchen also expands out to the side wall here, and that's where our fridge is gonna be. But guess what? If you're someone who needs a lot of cabinetry, a lot of countertop space, you get this because you get this massive amount of cabinets on the fridge wall. We still get more countertop space here where they continue, some nicer quartz, nicer cabinetry. It's all soft close as far as, how everything's set up. So again, you don't have to worry about a kid accidentally slamming a cabinet, which does happen sometimes, but that's just part of it, which then takes us to our rest of our kitchen where they actually also did two-tone cabinets. So we have cabinetry here, which is in a darker, more wood color, kind of goes with that flooring, which offsets really nicely with our white quartz countertops. And then we have our white cabinetry for the back wall. In addition, we have our double oven here. So again, if you're someone who loves to cook, which I'm not a great cook myself, but I love to have a double oven if I wanted to cook. So to have that double oven there does make a huge difference. Just to have that for, if you have a lot of family come over for the holidays. Again, they continue all that gold hardware with it. We have our gourmet kitchen with this layout. So, the gourmet kitchen gives us that, ventilated hood in more that wood pattern, kind of matches the rest of the cabinetry with it. We do still get our 5-burner gas stovetop because this is going to be a gas community, as I've already referenced. And again, what's really cool too, and this is going to only be more expensive because it's an upgrade, is the builder on this one actually continued the quartz countertops and they made that the backsplash as well. So just a very clean, sleek look. Everything kind of blends in really nicely. And again, maybe you don't like that. Maybe you want the tile to add a pop of color. So that's one of those things I'd love to know in the comments. Do you like that, or would you want the color? Because again, everyone has a different preference. I like both. It just comes down to how what material you use and how you lay it out. In addition, they did a great job of adding some pullouts underneath the gas stovetop, again, soft close. And then for the island, they gave us a nice farm-style Kohler sink, really large, nice deep sink. And again, if you don't want that farm-style sink anymore, because some people do, some people don't, you could easily swap this out and do more of a enclosed sink as well. And again, I mean, the view from here, spectacular. In addition, we have our dishwasher, and then we finish it off over here with our Sharp microwave. And this microwave, it's actually one of those cool ones that does actually pop out and is automatic. I am just a bit challenged, so it took me a second to find that. So again, if I want to open it, I mean, come on. In general, I do love seeing that. I mean, just one button opens and closes it. And you're starting to see more of that nowadays where the microwave is actually now below the countertops, whereas typically we always saw it above, either over the oven, or we saw it with the above the oven or above the stovetop. So in general, it's kind of cool how they're starting to put it down below. Finally, for this area, we have what's designed to be more of like a sitting area, but you could make this your dining room if you didn't want your dining room over there. So this could easily accommodate more of a circular dining room table, and it kind of gives you a little bit of separation there. So if you don't want the kids maybe to want to be watching TV while they eat, if you want it to be solely focused on family dinner, let's talk about our day, let's see how everyone's day was, this could be a great use of the space for that as well. And that's what I love about some of these floor plans, is when you have options on what you can do with it, that just makes a huge difference, in my opinion, to be able to design it how you want it and not be stuck in, oh, it has to be this layout. And then before we finish it off, before we go outside, I do also want to just highlight, we do have a really good sized pantry over here. Did not want to miss that. So we have a good sized pantry for our kitchen, little sitting area here, somewhat usable, to be able to take your shoes off before you come into the house, a little mudroom area. But overall, just good layout across the board. Now let's check out the backyard, and then I obviously will let you know where we're at today, because I'm sure you've been dying to find that out. All right, now that we're outside, what I like about this back porch, it's fully covered, it's under the same roof line, which makes a huge difference, because again, it becomes extra square footage in some regards when you are buying a home here in this area. But in addition, it's a very simple layout. It's just, it's very wide, deep enough. They did continue those pavers that we also saw up front. They continue it back here to give us a nice surface. And you may ask yourself, well, what if I want this screened in? Well, I got great news for you. If you want it screened in, you can do it with the builder. You can do it after the fact. And I have contacts that can always help with things like that as well. So if you want to know, more about that, or the contacts themselves, call, text, email me, happy to help. But overall, it's a great space out here. You do have a lot of glass out here with all the windows. We have a really massive fan here, which I think is kind of cool, just becomes a bit of a focal point. And then they finished it off with your gas fireplace. So again, for times of the year where it's a little bit cooler out, or if you have friends or family over and you want that ambiance, you get that gas fireplace going. You could have a TV up on the wall, and you could be watching football, basketball, baseball, whatever the time of the year may have on, and you can just hang out with friends and family and just enjoy your backyard, enjoy having that natural area back here. Because again, when you live in Florida, when you live in Jacksonville, it's more so about being outside, being out with nature than it is anything else, because we typically have such beautiful weather here most of the year. In addition, we do have a very simplistic backyard back here, so just really all you need, just a nice area for the kids to play, for the dogs to come out to run around. You could fully fence this in if you wanted to. This builder does require, for most of their lots, they are going to typically require a 4 foot metal fence, as you can see back there, but 4 foot, not 6. So it does kind of give you an idea of what the material is that you can have out here. But in general, just a really nice, simplistic backyard and very private across the board. So that's going to kind of wrap up the walkthrough of this floor plan. Now I'm going to tell you where we're at today, who the builder is, the floor plan itself, and some other cool features too that you're not going to miss. Let's get into that right now. So that's gonna wrap up this beautiful walkthrough of this model home today. And here's the thing. I like to always do a deep dive into where we're at, and just why a community is so popular. And we will discuss that. But in general, if you have any questions about the home buying process or what it's like to move or live here in Jacksonville, reach out to me. And I have no problems ever going over all that, because you're gonna have options when it comes to buying a home here, when it comes to finding a home here. And when it comes to working with builders, who you work with sometimes does matter quite a bit, especially when it comes to determining what builder is the right fit for you and your family. So in general, I am always here to help with all of that. But now getting back, as far as where we're at, this is, like I said, the newest community here in Jacksonville, Florida. This community is the Everrange community, which is a community that was developed by the Park Group. And you may be watching this and you may be wondering, okay, well, why should that matter to me, Justin? Well, the Park Group has developed other communities as well, such as E-Town, Pablo Creek Reserve, and with the one with the most notoriety is Nocatee. So I can't tell you how many times I get on the phone with someone and they're like, hey, I want to be in Nocatee, Florida. And a lot of that has to do with how the Park Group developed that community. And it still resonates with people throughout the whole country and even in other countries too, believe it or not. So Everrange, being another Park Group community, is going to have that same recognition over the next decade as this community gets built out. And this is really the first true phase. This is the first true community for anyone, or neighborhood for anyone within the community, because we are in the Mariposa neighborhood. And Mariposa is going to actually be the closest neighborhood to their brand new amenity center that will be open in the summer, or later in the summer of 2026. But overall, this floor plan was designed by Riverside Homes, one of my favorite builders, mainly because they are a local builder, and a lot of the builders here in Everrange are going to be more local builders, either in Jacksonville as a whole or in the state of Florida. But there are a couple national builders too, which you'll see in other videos as well. But with this one, Riverside Homes, they do an amazing job with their attention to detail and with their relationship with you as the client during the build process. And not to say other builders don't, but they definitely want to make sure that you're happy at the end of the day. And that's always something that I look at, because when I work with you and I work with the builder, to get you the best, possible deal possible, I want to make sure that they're giving you everything you deserve. But this specific floor plan is their Scarlet floor plan. It is a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom floor plan as their base. And you may ask yourself, Justin, you didn't show me 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms today. And you're right. I showed you a 4-bedroom, 3.5-bath floor plan today because they actually upgraded this to add the half bath, because that is one of those structural options you could choose when you're designing your home from the ground up with Riverside Homes, which I actually think made a lot of sense with this floor plan. In addition, you actually do have almost a 3-car garage if you don't do the half bath, but you have a true dedicated 2-car garage, and it has a bit of a deepness to it, so it's deeper than your standard 2-car garage, which I really love. In addition, it's around 27, call it 27, 37 square feet, so it's a very good size there as well. And again, if you don't like the upstairs primary with this, they have almost a sister version called the Sawyer that actually has a downstairs primary instead. So that's the other cool part about them, is they do have different variations of floor plans to fit whatever your family's wants and needs really are. So I personally love that when it comes to working with a builder like this. But again, getting back to Everrange for a moment in Mariposa, this is a community that is going to have around $1,000 a year for the association fee. This community as a whole is going to have what's called a CDD fee. So that's going to be anywhere from $3,000 and up, depending on the builder, the lot, the floor plan. So again, if you want to know what it is for each one, reach out to me. We'll go over all that. You can call me, text me, email me. It's going to be on the screen. It's also going to be in the description of this video. So again, because that's really important when determining, is this a neighborhood that's the right fit for me at the end of the day. But again, this is that next big community, so just something to definitely think about. As far as this model we're in today, obviously they're not going to have an exact price on it, right this second. So if you want to know the price of this model, the way it sits right this second, you could reach out to me. I can work on getting that. But if you want to know what the base price of this plan is, I'm about to give that to you right now. So keep in mind, the base price is not going to have all the upgrades. And what's really cool is with this builder, they do actually build what they call inventory spec homes. So if you want to know, for instance, what maybe middle ground is between, say, the base price and the model. They actually have one right this second. Now, granted, it may not be available when you're watching this video, but right this second they have one slightly larger at 2,900 square feet. So they did do some structural increases to it, but they have it right now for $700,000. So that just gives you an idea of maybe that middle ground, so to speak, when it comes to finding the right home for your family. And again, if you can't wait, if you're watching this and you need to move right this second, call me, because that one won't last long, and that one is in the process of being built currently. But as far as the base price, keep in mind that is always going to be subject to change. So what you're hearing right now could be different than what it was when I was here today shooting this video. So if you want to know what the base price is currently, reach out to me with a call, text, and email. But that base price is currently $649,900 with Riverside Homes. So again, the base price is call it $650. They're building one for $700. So it just goes to show you that it doesn't require as many, maybe upgrades as you may think it could to get that end product that looks absolutely fantastic. And here's one thing better too. The builder does offer different incentives throughout the year, and it does constantly change. That is always subject to change. But right now, this builder is giving you funds towards your closing costs if you use their preferred lender. And if you are building from the ground up, so not like that one for $700, but if you build from the ground up, they are also going to give you funds to use towards the design center. So that first, who knows how many, it could be 25, could be 35, it could be 15,000, depending on how many homes are selling at that time. Whatever the case may be, they are giving you funds to use towards the design center to get the home the way you want it before you start coming out of pocket to increase the price. So that's something I think is absolutely fantastic. So again, if you want to know what the price is right this second, if you want to know more about Riverside Homes or about Everrange as a whole, don't hesitate, call, text, email me. And if you stay till the end, like this video, subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you guys again on our next model home tour.